from Cleveland's most accurate weather team. This is 19 First Alert Plus, sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
And good morning, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News, coming to you from our digital desk. I've probably done hundreds of these weather updates throughout the years. I don't know that there's been one more important than today's weather update. Here we are at just after 9:45. Going to welcome in First Alert meteorologist Erica Page. Erica, all eyes are on you. The first thing I want to show our viewers, though, look at Avon Lake right now. Lake Erie Crusher Stadium, where Cleveland 19 is holding our big event today. Look at the skies. What a beautiful sight after kind of an ugly morning. And the question at the bottom of the screen, will the clouds clear in time? Erica, take it away.
Yeah, so this is really, I think, a very favorable forecast, all things considered, for what we're dealing with later today. Certainly the rain that was around early this morning is slowly starting to clear off to the east, and the thicker cloud cover associated with it, as you saw from that Lake Erie Crushers cam, it's still around the area, but it's starting to break up a bit more west of Cleveland. And really, you look out towards that I-75 corridor, look at how clear everything is. I mean, you're talking full-on sunshine starting to move through. However, I want to show the full picture because there are some high-level clouds that are going to start to sweep in. And really, I'm going to zoom this out a little farther. This is all moisture coming in out of the Pacific. And so it's really transporting across places like Texas and then up through places like Oklahoma, Arkansas, and even the southern Ohio Valley area. This is this high-level cirrus cloud cover that we're talking about. Now, it is something we'll have to watch as we go through the afternoon, but generally speaking, cirrus cloud cover wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing, and I'll kind of explain why that is. These are high, thin clouds. They're made up of little ice particles, so they tend to be a lot thinner, and you can kind of see that by that picture there on the left. If this is the case and they're not too thick, which we don't anticipate that it will be, you can still see the eclipse. It may have a little bit of a filter on it, but it's still going to be visible. What you don't want is the cloud cover that we had around earlier this morning. These are a lot of mid to low level clouds. They're more the cumulus type, looking a little bit more puffy, and that would make viewing conditions just a little bit more difficult. However, say, worst case scenario, what's going to happen, especially for areas off to the east, where we're going to see the slower clearing as we go to the afternoon. Even if you had partly cloudy conditions, the hope is that one of those clouds just doesn't block the sun at just that right time when you're talking about totality. But the thinking is you're still likely going to be able to see this whole event playing out. You just may have a couple more clouds in the mix. So keep that in mind as we talk about the forecast as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Here's a snapshot of what we're tracking. The morning showers exiting, few clouds around still later in the day. Certainly the high-level cloud cover, I think, going to be probably the more impactful cloud cover that we'll have by the time we get into the actual eclipse occurring. But temperature is fantastic. I mean, we're talking highs upper 60s to lower 70s. That's incredible for the early part of April, especially when you consider it's also the Guardians home opener. So we're gearing things up. Of course, there's going to be a lot of folks all across Northeast Ohio today. I just want to take a quick snapshot of Cleveland just in general because these partial eclipses will begin pretty much at around the same time, give or take a couple of minutes, all across Northeast Ohio. So the show really begins just ahead of 2 o'clock. Partial eclipse starts to come in. If we are in a partial eclipse, that means you must be wearing those glasses. Only if you're in the path of totality and the moon has completely blocked the sun are you in that phase of what we call actual totality. Can you briefly remove those glasses? The best way you'll know that you are basically within totality is if you're looking through the glasses, you won't be able to see the sun anymore. So for us here in Cleveland, you're talking 3:13 to 3:17, totality time about 3 minutes and 49 seconds. If you live on the outer fringes of totality, you're still in totality, but it just may not last for quite as long. Partial eclipse will wrap up later this afternoon about 4:28. So I did make a quick map just to kind of show you the start of totality times across Northeast Ohio. Pick the city that's about closest to where you're going to be. You can see if you're headed west, Tiffin, about 3:11 is when totality begins. Meanwhile, places like Ashtabula, Warren, you're talking more around 3:15 or so, and then totality ends 3:15 to the west, and then eventually closer to about 3:18 as this eclipse basically ends up towards the northeast in Ashtabula and Chardon right around 3:18. So real quick look at your forecast within that track of and path of totality, you'll see these low clouds. That's what this thicker white color basically is across our area. It's the cloud cover we're dealing with right now. It will continue to slip off towards the east. This is that high-level cirrus cloud cover we're talking about through the afternoon. And I do think it's going to stick around. I'll kind of backtrack this to 3 o'clock just so you can see exactly what we're tracking. If you're headed west, say west of Mansfield, you may not have a whole lot of the thicker cirrus trying to move in. Closer to the lakeshore, you may have a little bit more of that cirrus cloud cover filtering out the sunshine. But really where we're going to have potentially any issues with some partly cloudy conditions, you're talking east of Cleveland, likely into our primary snowbelt region, just as we're waiting on this system to continue to clear off towards the east.
It's, you know, when you start to think about it, yes, is this a crystal clear blue day? No, but when you think about what we could have, I was on Facebook today. I had a Facebook memory. I should have looked at how many years ago it was. We had a snowstorm on April 8th a few years ago. So that's what we could be dealing with. So when we look live again out at Lake Erie Crusher Stadium here in Avon Lake, I mean, that's a pretty beautiful sky compared to what we could have for the alternative. We're going to take our 15-second break because not only should we be thankful for the weather we have today, when you see what's coming for the rest of the week, we are in pretty good shape. So give us 15 seconds and we'll be right back.
I've represented families just like yours for over 4 decades. Listen, if you need me, call me. You know I'll be there for you, and I'll make them pay. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for you.
And again, take a look at our 7-day. Erica, you're going to walk us through this. Thankfully, the eclipse is today and not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It would be a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. If for no other reason, I mean, yes, the rain storm chance would be a bit problematic, but you're just going to have more clouds around the area. Really, today is the most clear day that we're going to have over the next 5. We are watching, and I know we haven't had a lot of time to dive into this just yet. There is a level 1 risk out tomorrow for that potential that we could see a couple isolated strong to possibly even severe storms. Main threat would be you get some gusty winds, some hail in the mix if you get a more organized storm to develop. So kind of keep that on the back burner as we look beyond all the events that are happening today. Certainly that is something the team is going to be watching closely as we get into your Tuesday. And with temperatures into the mid-70s, probably not a surprise that we're talking that there is that potential you could have a couple stronger storms. But cold front will come through. It'll eventually kind of reset our temperatures a little bit by the end of the week. Right now, though, looks like the rain chance will end by Friday. It's going to be one of our cooler days, but at least it sets us up for a very nice start to the weekend. Saturday looking beautiful, plenty of sunshine, temperatures into the 60s, and then we may see this pattern breaking down just a little bit more second half of the weekend, but we've got plenty of time to really fine-tune that weekend forecast. We've got a lot to get to, though, here in the near term over the next 5 days first.
Absolutely. Very, very busy time here in Northeast Ohio. 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page as we hit 5 hours and 19 minutes until totality. The clock and the countdown is on. Thank you very much for checking in with what looks like pretty good news, favorable news compared to what we could have on a day like today. Erica, thanks for checking in.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care. Again, let's talk about what's going on today. Here we are, another live look at Lake Erie Crusher Stadium. This is out in Avon Lake. The clouds are doing exactly what we had hoped, starting to break up and ship out to the east. That is phenomenal news. I want to show you just one of the animations we have for today. I want you to keep your eye in the upper left-hand corner. You see the time stamp. This is moving about 1 minute per second. You see right there at about 3:13, 3:12, 3:13 as this moves into Northeast Ohio to be our path of totality. That gives you an idea of just your time frame. That sun starts to move, the moon starts to move in front of the sun for Northeast Ohio at about 2 o'clock, just before 2 o'clock. That's how long it will take the moon to move into position, about an hour and 13 minutes here in Northeast Ohio to cast that huge shadow. Again, once in a lifetime. This will not happen again in Cleveland until the year, follow me here, the year 2444. That will be the next total solar eclipse in Northeast Ohio. That's not just the next eclipse, that's the one that will be seen here in Northeast Ohio. Obviously, none of us will be around for that, but it shows you just how rare an event this is, and you want to make sure you have an opportunity to witness this. And fortunately, these blue skies are giving us a lot of hope for the rest of the day. If we have any other breaking news or if the weather were to change, it doesn't look like it, we're going to make sure we get you word here live on our digital platforms, leaving you with a look out at Lake Erie Crusher Stadium, all set up. The big Lights Out in the Land event. If you don't have tickets, you can go to cleveland19.com and still purchase tickets for this event. Going to be an absolutely amazing display and a beautiful weather day. Until we start our live coverage, we're going to be live wall to wall from noon until 6:30. That is a big chunk of time, and we've been preparing for this for more than a year as we get a little bit closer. So make sure you tune into Channel 19 for our live coverage from noon until 6:30. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.